This dangerous heat is not going anywhere. Make sure you have the sunscreen. Only take about 10 minutes to get a sunburn today. But we always talk about, let's say, staying cool and staying hydrated. But Wave 31's Luke Hydash is live this morning to talk about a hazard that we don't typically think about, Luke, sun poisoning.
Sun poisoning, right you are, my friend. Well, Carson, it starts out as that simple sunburn, that pesky thing we all get, maybe on the back of your neck, your shoulders, your face. The simple symptoms that we see all the time. Red, turns white, I should say, when you push on it. But it can get a whole heck of a lot worse, and that's when you know you've got sun poisoning. Blisters, rashes, anything like that. Maybe you've got some additional symptoms too. Nausea, dizziness, headaches. The best way you can avoid all of these symptoms, which is sun poisoning, well, sunscreen. You hear it time and time again. Lots and lots of it. Experts say that is the best way you can protect yourself from sun poisoning, which is really just that severe damage that you get to your skin. One nurse practitioner right here in Huntsville, she had her own run-in with sun poisoning over the weekend. She says, make sure you lather up because the alternative is not worth it.
The tan is not worth it. Definitely wear sunscreen because you don't want to get skin cancer. You don't want to be sunburned and have to deal with this pain and also worry about getting dehydrated. And the rest of my beach trip was ruined. I was in the room all day with my legs elevated. So my beach trip was ruined after the first day. So definitely wear sunscreen and stay hydrated.
Now, experts say it doesn't matter what kind of sunscreen you use, whether you use the spray or the traditional squirt bottle, just make sure it's at least SPF 30. Experts say that's the best way you can protect yourself. If you do end up with sun poisoning, you get those blisters, you get those rashes, experts say don't pick at them. That's the worst thing that you could do. You may just end up getting infected, make matters worse. Reporting live this morning, Luke Hydash, Wave 31 News.
All right, very important information, Luke. Thank you so much. And remember, you can track this week's high temperatures by downloading our Wave 31 Storm Tracker weather app. We've made it easy for you. Take your phone right now, scan that QR code right there at the center of your screen. It's going to take you to the App Store. And best of all, this handy dandy tool is free to download on your Apple and Android devices. Happening today, a second former school superintendent will be sentenced in federal court for his role in a school fraud scheme. Former Athens Superintendent Trey Holliday will go before a federal judge this morning. A judge sentenced former Limestone County Superintendent Tom Sisk to 18 months in prison for his role in the scheme. He also has to pay a $15,000 fine and $13,000 in restitution. 2 people are in the Madison County Jail following a standoff with deputies yesterday. Mariah Cook was hiding in a closet with ammunition and magazines. Jesse Johnson was also arrested. It happened at a home on Wandering Lane in Harvest. Neighbors tell us they're glad this situation ended peacefully.
I hate it that this has happened because we live in a great neighborhood.
This is the second time law enforcement was in a standoff with Mariah Cook. She was able to escape after being barricaded in a home on Old Railroad Bed Road Saturday. Well, today, many of you across the city of Huntsville will say your final goodbyes to one of our city's best-known leaders and advocates. Raymond Jones' funeral will be at Mayfair Church of Christ at 11 o'clock this morning. He died Friday in an ATV crash near Paint Rock. He's the son of Carl T. Jones and owner of Jones Family Farm, one of the biggest working urban farms in the U.S. Jones was 87 years old. Time now 6:06. Alabama health leaders have found 2 new cases of monkeypox, which brings the total number of cases being monitored in the state to 4. Health leaders say there could be more cases spreading. They hope more people come forward so they can help get this outbreak under control.
People who are getting afflicted with a particular infectious disease, you've got to let the community know of the danger, and you've got to let the physicians who care for these people be aware of it so that they don't miss the diagnosis. But clearly, the modality of spread is close skin-to-skin contact.
Nationwide, the CDC's confirmed more than 2,100 cases of monkeypox thus far. In the meantime, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is ramping up its efforts to get the monkeypox vaccine to states to distribute. Almost 60,000 doses have been passed out in the last week. The CDC says those who've been in close contact with those infected will need a shot. It estimates more than 1.5 million people are eligible for a monkeypox vaccine. State health leaders say COVID is spreading fast here in Alabama. Statewide, 30% of COVID tests are coming back positive. Doctors say an Omicron subvariant that spreads more easily and evades prior immunity is behind this latest surge. Today, U.S. lawmakers will vote on a bill that protects a Supreme Court ruling on contraception access. This bill allows the use of contraceptives and gives doctors the right to provide it. It comes after Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas suggested revisiting the 1965 Griswold versus Connecticut decision. The decision allows married couples to buy and use contraceptives without government restriction. Well, today, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot is expected to call 2 former White House officials to testify. The former Deputy National Security Advisor and former Deputy Press Secretary will both give their accounts as to what was happening inside the White House as rioters stormed the Capitol.
There's a lot more questions to answer, but we have a responsibility to tell the truth and to chase the facts, and that's exactly what we plan to do in this regard, as well as our general oversight over the executive department.
Tonight's hearing starts at 7 o'clock, and you can watch that hearing live right here on Way 31.
Clock's about to turn 6:09 on a Thursday morning. We've been saying this all morning, but today is one of those 1-2 punch kind of days in the weather world. First of which is, of course, that dangerous heat. That's not going anywhere for today or quite some time. We'll see those feels like temperatures as high as 108 later on this afternoon. But something else we'll be watching is maybe 2 rounds of storms, and especially with that second round this afternoon, some of those storms could be a bit severe. Show you what's happening out at Lake Guntersville this morning. It's a quiet picture in Marshall County. A little bit cloudy, a little bit hazy too, that classic summertime haze, if you will. Temperatures as you wake up in the upper 70s in a few spots, but for most of us, it's in the lower 80s. An incredibly warm start to the morning. Right now on the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network, this is the first round of those 2 rounds of storms we were talking about a moment ago. But you notice it's very, very scattered. Some of you will stay completely dry this morning, but some of you could also see very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and maybe some ponding on the roadways as well. As we put this into motion over the last few hours, you see that big complex of thunderstorms that went through Tennessee last night. It has weakened considerably, and the bulk of it's going to stay out towards Chattanooga and northern Georgia, but we'll watch for any additional scattered thunderstorms that develop throughout your morning drive. So in addition to the storm threat, we're talking about that dangerous heat. Heat advisory continues for virtually all of our coverage area until 6 o'clock tonight, but you also see that excessive heat warning in purple for Marion and Winston counties as this long heat wave rolls on. We'll talk more about what it means for your weekend and give you a closer look at future radar in a few minutes. Marie?
All right, thank you, Carson. Launch day set. We'll take a look at how long it's going to take until we see NASA's Artemis 1 mission blast off. And Auburn is in the spotlight this morning. We'll tell you who's going to be speaking for the Tigers at SEC Media Days.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 Morning News with Megan Reyna, Chris Tatum, meteorologist Carson Meredith, and the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
In this morning's GMA First Look, an exclusive interview with a mother who made the difficult decision to report her own son to the police. Nicole Schubert says she found his journal detailing plans of a horrific killing spree that was to begin at home.
What's it like for a mother to read something like that?
Devastating. That's my child. I gave birth to him. It hurts a lot. It still hurts.
Schubert calling police just hours later.
Your first instinct is, as a parent, is to protect your child. But at that point, I felt like if he is actually going to do these things, he would be safer in jail.
And coming up at 7 a.m., her message for other parents. With your GMA First Look, I'm Mona Kosarabdi, ABC News, New York.
Welcome back. It is 6:15. We do have a traffic alert for drivers in Huntsville this morning. There is a crash reported westbound on 565 near the Sparkman Drive exit. This is what we're looking at. We will let you know when that area is cleared, but be prepared for a slowdown. We have one lane blocked before exit 15 on Old Madison Pike westbound 565. Again, this is causing a headache for drivers. Avoid this area if at all possible this morning. Happening today, a former Minneapolis police officer convicted of violating George Floyd's civil rights will learn his fate. A judge will sentence this man, Thomas Lane, this morning. Prosecutors say Lane did not provide Floyd with immediate medical care. He was also one of the officers who helped restrain him while Derek Chauvin knelt on Floyd's neck. New this morning, one U.S. soldier died. Several others were hurt after a lightning strike in Fort Gordon in Georgia. Army leaders there say it happened at one of the training areas on base. Right now, they're working to notify the soldier's family. We're told at least 9 others were hurt during that lightning strike. New details this morning. The U.S. is sending more supplies to Ukraine in an effort to stop Russia from taking more territory. National security leaders say the aid package includes more high-mobility artillery rocket systems. Those systems allow for precision-guided missiles. The U.S. has provided more than $7 billion in aid to Ukraine since the war began. Well, NASA says its new Mega Moon rocket is ready for liftoff on its inaugural flight in just a few weeks. NASA is targeting August 29th for the Artemis 1 test flight. The SLS rocket is currently in the Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center for final checks and connections. The first launch will be an unmanned flight. The Orion space capsule will stay in space for up to 42 days in lunar orbit. As that's getting underway in Kennedy, take a look at this. NASA is already testing new technology for future Artemis missions. Today, it'll conduct a hot fire test for a rocket booster similar to what you're seeing right here on your screen. They hope this test will be used on the Artemis 9 mission. It starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon at Northrop Grumman facility in Utah. Data from today's test will help engineers evaluate new materials and launch future astronauts to the moon and beyond. Ooh, that fire from that rocket test just makes it look hot, but it feels hot, and it's not even 6:30 in the morning when you step outside, Carson.
Not even 6:30, Marie, and it's still in the low 80s.
Ugh.
That's the kind of heat we're dealing with, and it's going to feel more like 108 later on this afternoon. So in addition to that heat that we're going to be dealing with for a long time, we're tracking thunderstorms throughout the day. Show you what's happening here at 6:18 on the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network. If you've been watching us throughout the morning, I've been talking about 2 rounds of storms today. This is the first round. You notice it's not a whole lot, but we are going to have some of those scattered showers and storms throughout your morning commute. I'm going to zoom in on northwestern Limestone County right now. This downpour just developed in the last 10 to 15 minutes. It's moving out of Anderson. It's right along Alabama 99, getting closer to Elkmont right now. Nothing severe by any means, but definitely some very heavy rain in northwest Limestone County right now, and a few rumbles of thunder too. Let's go to southern Tennessee. Still watching this pocket of showers and storms in Franklin County, Tennessee, not Franklin County, Alabama, up in Tennessee. This activity is near Winchester, and it's going to keep moving to the south and east into Jackson County, let's say over the next 30 to 45 minutes. So if you're watching us basically north of Scottsboro, High Top, Bridgeport, Stevenson, Hollywood, you're going to be seeing some of this rain, and again, the next half hour to 45 minutes. We'll get this first round out of here by midday, and that will allow our temperatures to surge incredibly quickly. 96 is our forecast high. That's manageable, but it's that humidity, extreme humidity, that's going to make it feel as hot as 108 later on this afternoon, and we'll have that chance for strong to perhaps severe storms with our second round later on today. You see that 40% chance starting at 4 o'clock through about 8 or 9 this evening. That's the round that will have that chance for maybe some heavy rain and maybe gusty winds as well. The severe weather outlook looks like this. All in all, no major changes. See that level 1 risk in effect for Decatur, Huntsville, Scottsboro, basically south of the Tennessee Tennessee River. If those storms get their act together pretty quickly, we'll have to watch for that damaging wind potential. But the higher risk, though, is just off to our south, where you see that level 2 risk in effect towards Birmingham. So here's future radar, 8 o'clock this morning, and you look at our forecast model and you don't really see much rain. But we will have some of those scattered showers and storms through about 9 or 10 a.m. Get a break by lunchtime, and then late this afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, look at those storms. They bubble right on top of North Alabama. And like I mentioned, the faster these storms can get their act together, the higher our chance to see that damaging wind gust potential, especially south of the Tennessee River. But you notice by 9 o'clock tonight, once those storms really intensify, they're moving southward out of our coverage area. In other words, the severe weather risk today is there, but it's low. Of course, we'll keep an eye on it throughout the day. Quiet start to your Friday morning and going through your Friday afternoon. Very, very hot. Perhaps a few typical summertime downpours during the afternoon, but nothing as widespread as what we'll see today. Rainfall forecast looks like this. The further east you go, the higher rainfall amounts we'll see in the next 3 days. But even so, it's not a lot. 1/4 to 1/2 inch at most in Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Guntersville. Less than 1/10 of an inch out in the shoals. You may not see a drop, unfortunately, if you're in northwest Alabama over the next few days. We'll get an update on the U.S. Drought Monitor later on this morning. We'll have that full update for you coming up on midday at 11. We should see some improvements from that moderate drought to abnormally dry condition, but it won't be a whole lot. We're going to need several days and several inches of rain to really eliminate that drought concern, and that is not in the forecast anytime soon. What is in the forecast is the heat. Highs in the upper 90s, lows in the 70s, with those feels-like temperatures each and every day in the triple digits.
Whew, all right, thank you, Carson. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young needs more room in his trophy case. We'll take a closer look at the big award he received last night. Welcome back. Happening today, it is Auburn's turn to be center stage at SEC Media Days. The Tigers will take the stage at 8 o'clock this morning in about an hour and a half from now. Second-year head coach Brian Harsin will arrive with running back Tank Bigsby and D lineman Derek Hall. Way 31 sports team will be in Atlanta to bring you the very latest from the College Football Hall of Fame. Well, it's been a very busy week for Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. The Heisman Trophy winner won the ESPY for College Male Athlete of the Year last night. Did you see it? Bryce was just in Atlanta for SEC Media Days Tuesday. He says his goal now is to bring home a national championship for the Tide.
Lord, let it be football season soon, because that means we'll cool things down and we won't have to deal with this mess. We're tracking a few thunderstorms popping up across North Alabama. We're talking more about the dangerous heat and maybe a few strong storms later today. Coming up.
Amen to that, Carson. Plus a lot more news coming up. What you can expect from a former North Alabama superintendent in federal court today.
You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. Way 31 Morning News starts now.
Our heat wave only getting hotter. Way 31 meteorologist Carson Meredith tracking our temperatures and our possibility for pop-up storms this Thursday. And in just a couple hours from now, a former North Alabama superintendent is set to be sentenced in federal court for his role in a fraud scheme. What you can expect in the courtroom this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Thursday, July 21st. I'm Marie Waxel. Chris Tatum and Megan Reyna have the morning off. We do have a lot to get to this morning, but we want to give you the all-important first check of the weather with meteorologist Carson Meredith. Carson, it is the air you can wear. You walk outside and it just melts all over you.
The second you open your front door, Marie, it will be very noticeable, especially this morning because those temperatures did not get out of the 80s in a lot of spots last night. We'll talk more about the dangerous heat in a moment, but I am tracking a few storms this morning on the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network. This is the first of what could be 2 rounds of storms today. You notice that coverage this morning, though, is not too terribly widespread, but we do have a few storms out there, one of which is in northwestern Limestone County, getting closer to Elkmont right now. This is going right along 99. This is going to be heading towards the Visitor Center right there at the state line on 65. Should stay to the north of Athens, but we do have new downpours developing down in Lawrence County, closer to Hatton right now. Heads up downtown Moulton. You might be seeing a quick downpour here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Let's go up to northeast Alabama, Jackson County, Franklin County, Tennessee too. A bit higher coverage of those showers as storms near Princeton, High Top, up towards Winchester, Tennessee as well. This will continue to move southeastward through the rest of Jackson County for the morning drive. I'm not expecting anything severe with this first round of storms we're dealing with now, but that could be a different story this afternoon. Look at these temperatures. We're still in the low 80s. Muscle Shoals 82, 80 in Decatur, 80 in Huntsville, 81 in Scottsboro. There are a few 70s out there like Guntersville, Athens, and Coleman. We're at 77 in those cities right now. So we'll have that 30% chance for hit and miss storms through the morning drive. If you encounter one of those storms, make sure you take it easy on the roads. We'll get a bit of a break around lunchtime, and that'll allow our temperatures to soar. 96 our forecast high, could feel as hot as 108. But we'll have that chance for a few strong storms this afternoon with round 2. We'll talk more about that second round in a few minutes. Marie?
All right. Thank you, Carson. Happening today, a second former school superintendent is set to be sentenced in federal court for his role in a school fraud scheme. Former Athens Superintendent Trey Holliday will go before a federal judge this morning. A judge sentenced former Limestone County Superintendent Tom Sisk to 18 months in prison for his role in the scheme. He also has to pay a $15,000 fine and $13,000 in restitution. Parents in Limestone County, listen up. You can cash in on some free back-to-school supplies tomorrow. A supply drive will be held at the First United Methodist Church's Youth Center starting at 9 o'clock. Again, this is a free back-to-school supply drive tomorrow morning starting at 9 o'clock in Limestone County. You will need to bring your ID to confirm your residency. According to the National Retail Federation, back-to-school shopping will reach record highs this year of $37 billion. Families plan to spend an average of $864 on back-to-school essentials. That's up about $15 from last year. Financial experts say the best way to save is to make a budget and stick to it.
Don't worry about having a back to school haul. Don't worry about spending hundreds of dollars on clothes and hundreds of dollars of school supplies. Have a good understanding of what the needs are going to be for that semester or for that year and take it slowly.
Thankfully, we don't need a jacket anytime soon, so you don't need to buy new coats, right? Well, 1/3 of parents say they're spending less in other areas so they can afford those school essentials. Well, today, many of you across Huntsville are preparing to say your final goodbyes to one of our city's best-known leaders and advocates. Raymond Jones' funeral will be at Mayfair Church of Christ at 11 o'clock this morning. He died Friday in an ATV crash near Paint Rock. He's the son of Carl T. Jones and owner of Jones Family Farm, one of the biggest working urban farms in the U.S. Jones was 87 years old. Time now 6:34. Alabama health leaders have found 2 new cases of monkeypox in the state, bringing the state total now to 4 cases being monitored. To our north, Tennessee is tackling 10 cases, which is up by 3 from last week. Nationwide, the CDC confirmed more than 2,100 cases. In the meantime, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is ramping up its efforts to get the monkeypox vaccine to states. Almost 60,000 doses were passed out to states last week. The CDC says those who have been in close contact with those affected will need a shot. It estimates more than 1.5 million people are eligible for a monkeypox vaccine. Well, health leaders in Alabama say COVID is spreading fast. Statewide now, 30% of COVID tests are coming back positive. Doctors say an Omicron subvariant that spreads more easily and evades prior immunity is behind this latest surge. New this morning, the Secret Service arrested an Alabama man for threatening President Joe Biden. Agents say this man, John Baser Jr. of Mobile, called the White House switchboard and made a death threat earlier this month. Prosecutors are asking a judge to order a psychiatric evaluation to determine whether Baser is competent enough to stand trial. Happening today, President Joe Biden will push for more gun reform at his stop in Pennsylvania. This comes after he signed the bipartisan Safer Communities Act last month. The law enhances background checks for gun buyers under 21, prevents partners convicted of domestic violence from purchasing a gun, and provides funding for gun violence prevention programs. In Texas now, the Uvalde school police chief could be fired for his officers' response or lack of response to the Robb Elementary School shooting. The Board of Education will hold a special meeting Saturday to discuss his fate. The school superintendent recommended he be fired. Families of the victims say too little has been done to hold officers accountable.
They say they're trying to fix things or give us a sense of direction or a sense of hope or anything, but every time they try, they just simply fail.
The police chief was one of nearly 400 law enforcement officers who waited outside a classroom for more than an hour while a gunman killed 19 students and 2 teachers. Today, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot is expected to call 2 former White House officials to testify. The former Deputy National Security Advisor and former Deputy Press Secretary will give their accounts of what was happening inside the White House as rioters stormed the Capitol.
People who were in the White House, people who were close to the president, and also, people who had insight into the actions that were going on, in the variety of ways that they were trying to control the violence.
Tonight's hearing begins at 7 o'clock, and you can watch it unfold live right here on Way 31. Well, today, attorneys for Steve Bannon will present their case. Prosecutors say the ex-advisor to former President Donald Trump was in contempt of Congress for not complying with the subpoena in the House January 6th investigation. A staffer for the House Select Committee says Bannon was an important witness. He could face up to 2 years in prison if convicted. Well, NASA says its new Mega Moon rocket is ready for liftoff on its inaugural flight in just a few weeks. NASA is targeting August 29th for the Artemis 1 test flight. The SLS rocket is currently in the Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center for final checks and connections. The first launch will be an unmanned flight. The Orion space capsule will stay in space for up to 42 days in lunar orbit. NASA, in the meantime, is already testing new technology for future Artemis missions. Today, it'll conduct a hot fire test for a rocket booster they hope to use on the Artemis 9 mission. It starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon and will be similar to what you're looking at right now on the screen. It's going to take place at a Northrop Grumman facility in Utah. Data from today's test will help engineers evaluate new materials and launch future astronauts to the moon and beyond.
Well, it'll feel like we're in a blowtorch later on today with that dangerous feels-like temperatures up to 108 later on this afternoon. But we're tracking a few storms this morning. Another view of the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network shows some of those hit-and-miss storms right along the Alabama-Tennessee state line. Let's start things off in Franklin County, Tennessee. The Weather Service is watching this particular storm just to the southwest of Winchester for maybe some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. Not expecting anything severe, but if you are along US 64 between Huntland and Winchester and Franklin Franklin County, Tennessee, even down towards Jackson County. New downpour just developed north of Princeton. You could have some of those gusty winds, very heavy rain, and some lightning as well as you're hitting the roads this morning. Let's go towards I-65. Still watching this thunderstorm in northern Limestone County near Elkmont. Looks as though this may clip downtown Athens. Keep that in mind if you're in Athens, about to hit the roads this morning. And also another downpour to the north of downtown Moulton in Lawrence County. So with this first round of storms right now, we're not expecting much in the way of severe weather, but we'll get a break around lunchtime. We will heat up extremely quickly, and then we'll have a second round of storms get going this afternoon. With that round, we could see a few severe storms. See that level 1 risk in yellow for Decatur, Huntsville, Scottsboro, down towards Fort Payne and Guntersville as well. If those storms can get their act together quickly later on today, we'll be dealing with heavy rain and lightning, of course, and maybe some damaging wind gusts too. Outside of the storms, though, the dangerous heat's not going anywhere, obviously. Heat advisory continues until 6 o'clock tonight. For those feels like temperatures well past 105, we'll talk more about your weekend forecast, which includes more heat, as well as an updated look at future radar in a few minutes. Marie?
Thank you, Carson. This morning's Boomtown is growth fueled by baseball and so much more. Coming up, we'll show you the new developments in town Madison.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 Morning News with Megan Rainham, Chris Tatum, meteorologist Carson Meredith, and the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Welcome back. We do have a traffic update for you on an alert we told you about in the last half hour. That crash on 565 westbound. Good news, it's finally been cleared, and you can see it is all green on our Way 31 traffic map. Again, no major traffic accidents to report to you at this time. Of course, if this changes, we will let you know both on air and online. Time now 6:44. All July long, we've been showing the hot spots around Madison County that are putting our county on the map. And this morning, we're headed to Madison, where a raccoon started this particular boom. Here's Way 31's Megan Reyna.
If you drive to town Madison, everything is new.
This was just woods over here, yeah.
I love it. It's fun.
But rewind to 14 years ago.
In 2008, discussions happened about what would we do with that land.
Mayor Paul Finley knew Madison needed this development, and it'd be a big investment by the city, $48 million to build what Finley describes as the anchor. Toyota Field, home of the Trash Pandas.
And that's where we spent some money to realize if you build it, will they come? The neat thing for us is it's worked exactly as we hoped it would for these first couple of years, even through the pandemic.
Even when the Trash Pandas couldn't play ball, Ball Course still paid the city of Madison more than $620,000. During its first season of play, that payment nearly doubled, more than $1.2 million, more than what the city even expected.
This year, we're going to hope to play 69 games, which would be so many more.
He says tie that in with lodging tax, town Madison is financially strong and growing.
It's just a perfect location for us to drive a stake in the ground.
A Marriott hotel recently broke ground. People are moving into new homes and apartments, and popular chains like Moe's Barbecue, J. Alexander's, and Slim Chickens opening up.
Yeah, we as a staff get excited every time something new opens. We want this area to flourish.
Lindsay Knupp with the Trash Pandas says all of this adds to the success of a minor league baseball team.
And just being able to walk to the ballpark and be at the hotel right here and go to one of the restaurants nearby. You really don't have to even leave this area to experience a lot of different things.
A home run for town Madison. Megan Reyna, Way 31 News.
We are so happy that Toyota Field is open for all of us to enjoy. You know, it's not all about baseball. It's a multi-use venue. The city's taken full advantage of this facility and the team, especially during the off season, to continue making sure revenue flows in. Madison County isn't the only area growing. In fact, if you're looking for a new lunch spot today, you may want to go check out this new shop in Decatur. At 11 o'clock this morning, Red Pier Cajun Seafood will open its doors. It's located just off Beltline Road. The Memphis-based chain will serve seafood, including lobster and crab legs. Already thinking about lunch and haven't even had breakfast yet.
Yep.
But you're going to want to stay inside because you're at the threat of storms today, Carson, and of course just that dangerous heat again.
Yeah, this is one of those days, Marie, that you really just want to stay inside all day long. We will have that threat for heat this afternoon, but before we get to that, we're tracking a few thunderstorms as we have been all morning long across the Way 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network. And this is round one of what could be 2 rounds of storms in North Alabama today. You notice, though, the rain coverage right now is not too terribly widespread. In fact, a lot of us are going to stay dry for your morning commute. But where it is raining, well, it's raining pretty heavy. Good bit of lightning, too. Let's go zoom in on Franklin County, Tennessee, Jackson County here in Alabama, of course. Very heavy rain just south of Winchester to the east of Huntland up in Franklin County. Princeton, Jackson County, very heavy rain, a good bit of lightning. All of this activity is moving to the south and southeast. So this is mainly going to be an issue for areas along 72 between Scottsboro and the state line in Jackson County. So Bridgeport, Hollywood, Stevenson, maybe down towards Pisgah as well. We'll be watching for very heavy rain and perhaps some gusty winds around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Also keeping an eye on these downpours, one about to go right over I-65, not 565, 65 just to the north of Athens, and another downpour between Hillsborough and Moulton in Lawrence County. Not expecting anything severe this morning. That could be a different story this afternoon, though. If you're not seeing rain, you're seeing mostly cloudy skies on the Way 31 Skycam network. And with that cloud cover staying with us all of last night, temperatures did not get out of the 80s in many spots. Huntsville, it's right at 80. Same story goes for Decatur. 82 in Muscle Shoals. Guntersville checking in at 77 right now. So once this first round of storms moves out, I think we'll have a good bit of sunshine during that middle part of the day. Look at that forecast high. 96 degrees, could feel as hot as 108 later on this afternoon. That 107, 108 range by 4 p.m. Stay cool, stay hydrated. If you have to be outside during the afternoon, make sure you take plenty of breaks in the AC and have a lot of water too. So we'll get a bit of a break in those storms by lunchtime, and then that second round gets going this afternoon. And with that second round in particular, we're going to have a lot of lightning. That's in the high risk. Remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. Heavy rain also a possibility, but the strongest storms later on today could have some damaging wind gusts in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range. Here's future radar. You notice our forecast models not showing those downpours right now, but again, we'll have that chance for scattered storms through about 10 a.m. this morning. A bit of a break by lunchtime, and then as we get towards, let's say, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there go those thunderstorms with our second round. And the faster these storms can get their acts together, the better our chance could be for some of those damaging wind gusts. We could see 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings later on today, but we're not expecting significant severe weather. These storms really won't get organized a whole lot until they're starting to move out of our area towards central Alabama later on this evening and past sunset tonight. Quiet start to your Friday morning, very warm, very humid though, and we'll have that small chance for a couple of downpours tomorrow afternoon, but nothing out of the ordinary for late July. Your weekend forecast, more of the same. Very, very hot, 98 both days. There's a tiny chance for a shower each afternoon, but otherwise we are just going to bake, not only this weekend, but into next week too. Look at that 7-day forecast. We'll keep those highs in the 96 to 98 degree range, overnight lows in the 70s, with those feels like temperatures, Marie, in the triple digits each and every afternoon.
Ooh-wee. All right, thank you, Carson. Go ahead, fill up your coffee. Next cup of coffee. It is 6:50 right now on your Thursday morning. Up next, we'll have your Way 31 Fastcast with all the headlines you need to know as you get ready to head out the door.
Coming up here on GMA, we'll begin with the heat. We are in an excessive heat warning here at Lake Mead, but all the way across the nation, there are heat advisories and serious and dangerous longevity of heat. Even in the Northeast, we could see 7 days in a row in New York City and other spots, which hasn't happened in some places since 2013. We also, of course, here at Lake Mead, have to talk about drought. We have brand new images from NASA. The boat behind me, just in the last couple of months, has been exposed because they are losing so much water so quickly. This water that services more than 40 million Americans and has a lot to do with our food prices. That coming up right here on GMA.
Welcome back. It is 6:54. We want to get you ready with these top stories as you get ready to start your day. A former school superintendent is set to be sentenced in federal court for his role in a school fraud scheme. Former Athens Superintendent Trey Holliday will go before a federal judge this morning. Raymond Jones' funeral is set to be held at Mayfair Church of Christ at 11 o'clock this morning. He died Friday in an ATV crash near Paint Rock. He's the son of Carl T. Jones and owner of Jones Family Farm, one of the biggest working urban farms in the U.S. Jones was 87 years old. The House Select Committee investigating the Capitol riot will hold its latest hearing at 7 o'clock tonight. Committee members will focus on what former President Donald Trump was doing while rioters breached the Capitol. You can watch it unfold live right here on Way 31. And it is Auburn's turn to be in the spotlight at SEC Media Days. The Tigers will take the stage at 8 o'clock this morning. Our Way 31 sports team is in Atlanta right now to bring you the very latest from the College Football Hall of Fame. And this morning, some of you in Hazel Green will be without water in about 5 minutes from now. Starting at 7 o'clock, crews will begin making improvements along Boyles Road. They hope to have the water turned back on for you by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Carson?
Still keeping an eye on a few downpours across North Alabama. Nothing too widespread, but we have very heavy rain near High Top in Princeton and Jackson County. That'll move just to the north of Scottsboro through the rest of Jackson County. Elsewhere, we have some light rain over downtown Athens, I-65 as we speak, and another downpour in Lawrence County as well. We'll keep that chance for hit and miss thunderstorms throughout the morning. We'll get a bit of a break by lunchtime, and then we'll have a second round of storms this afternoon. Some of those storms could be strong. Otherwise, outside of the storm chances, dangerous heat. 96 our forecast high. Could feel as high as 108 later on today. Give you one last check of that 7-day forecast this morning. We'll keep those high temperatures in the upper 90s, 96, 97, 98 all the way through next week. Not much way in the rain or relief to speak of. Those feels like temperatures each and every day will reach the lower triple digits, Marie.
Oof. All right, stay safe out there. And remember, for 24/7 coverage, you can count on local news, breaking news, and severe weather. Go to waytv.com. The news continues with Good Morning America next. We'll see you back here for a local news and weather update at 7:23. Have a fantastic Thursday, everyone.
I'm not sure if we will or not, but we usually do.
He said we are.
Let's go.
Stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good Thursday morning, North Alabama. We are tracking a few hit and miss thunderstorms as you head out the door. Nothing too widespread, but make sure you take it easy if you encounter one of those downpours. We'll keep that 30% chance in the forecast through 9 a.m. Look at those temperatures. We're already in the lower 80s. We'll be up to 85 by 9 a.m. Forecast highs today will be in the mid 90s. We're not done with the storms just yet. Once we get past this morning, another round of storms this afternoon, and some of those storms could be strong to severe with damaging winds and very heavy rain.
Stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Still tracking a few hit and miss downpours as you head out the door this morning. We'll get a break in the storms by lunchtime. That'll allow those temperatures to climb into the mid 90s. And then we'll have a second round of storms develop right on top of North Alabama this afternoon. Some of those storms later on could be strong, classic summertime storms with maybe some damaging wind gusts and very heavy rain. Until that second round of storms, though, the dangerous heat is not going anywhere. It could feel as hot as 108 this afternoon. Make sure you stay cool, stay hydrated, and take plenty of breaks indoors if you're outside. Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate the moral support.
5, 4, 3, 2.
It's a 1-2 punch in the weather world on this Thursday. Dangerous heat, highs in the mid-90s, could feel as hot as 108, and another round of storms on the way this afternoon, which could be strong to severe. Main threats will be very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and maybe some damaging wind gusts.